Hello everyone, welcome back to Age of Nagash, which is a channel dedicated to Age of Sigmar. In this video, we're going to have a bit of a hobby and chat talking about what I've been up to, what's coming up for me in the hobby this weekend, and also what's going to happen from this weekend onwards. So to start with, what I've been up to is I've done a joint video with Twinned Coot, which I'm sure you guys know. He's got a YouTube channel, he does fantastic reviews on War Scrolls, and me and him thought that we would come together to do a review on the Night of Shrouds, as neither of us had done a review on it yet. The video went well. It was an interesting take on doing these videos, especially it was nice to do a two-person video to especially have like a conversation going on it, and it's something we might look to do in the future as well, as we think it did go pretty well. So that's what we've been up to. I'm sure you know who Twinned Coot is. If you don't know, I'll put his link in the description of this video, as if you're not already a subscriber to him, he is very good. Anyway, so now talking about what's coming up this weekend, and that is the Heat 2 of the Grand Tournament for Age of Sigmar, which is at Warhammer World. So this is a tournament I'm going to this weekend. This will be the day of the 14th and 15th of April, and of course I'll be taking a Death Army to this tournament, and the army I'm taking is quite unusual, shall we say. It's on your screens now, as you can see it. It's incredibly low model count. It's probably what most people would say is a bad army, especially for a tournament army. However, I want to take it and try and prove people wrong. So what we've got in this list, starting from the top, is of course our Lord and Saviour Nagash, the Supreme Lord of the Undead. The reason why I've got him in here is because I think he's a fantastic general, and we are taking the Grand Host of Nagash from the Legions of Nagash Battle Tome, and if he's in the army, he has to be the general, but I do really think he's worth his points these days. His three spells he's got is Overwhelming Dread, because that spell making the enemy -1 to hit, and then as a bonus -1 Bravery, and potentially doubling that effect is incredibly good, especially how Nagash is getting +3 to cast when he's on full health. So that would mean that this spell is a auto cast unless the enemy can do some very nifty unbinding. So we've got Overwhelming Dread, we've got two other spells as well. We've got Soul Harvest, which is arguably, some people say it's not the best spell. I think it's particularly good. There are better circumstances to use this spell. However, in my list, it's basically every enemy unit within 3 inches of Nagash, and that's Nagash's base, so quite a big radius, suffers D3 mortal wounds, and then for every mortal wound they take and it's not negated, Nagash heals one of those wounds on a dice roll of a 5-up. So it's just an extra way for him to heal wounds, and he does an arcane bolt to everything within 3 inches of him, which doesn't sound like a lot of range, and it's not, but because of the size of his base, and if you really get him stuck into the thick of it in combat, it can capture more things than you would originally plan it to. And then his third spell is Vile Transfernus, which is the spell from the Law of the Vampires, and the reason I like this spell is just again because it's a way to heal Nagash and really make him just that much more unkillable, just that much more survivable, and just that much more that the enemy wants to smack you in the face, as I think that always does make games much more fun and much more interesting. Because Nagash, when I took him to a doubles tournament, it was the first time using him. He had a 2-up save because of Mystic Shield, and he's always, well, I say he's pretty much always guaranteed to get Mystic Shield off unless you roll incredibly low and the enemy manages to unbind it quite highly. Apart from that, you always pretty much guarantee Mystic Shield. So you put that on him, that gives him a 2-up save, rolling 1s, and the rerolls of 1s is because of his command ability. Already, he's pretty strong. Now, you've got things, of course, like Mortal Wounds, and Nagash has a 4-up Mortal Wounds save, and additionally, on that 4-up save, if he rolls a 6 when he's making those saves, he does a Mortal Wound back to the enemy unit that caused him to suffer mortal wounds, if you see what I'm trying to say. So we've got that, and then failing that, he's got a 6-up death save built into him as well, which is against wounds and mortal wounds, so he's pretty goddamn survivable. And then even if the enemy manages to put some damage on him, he's got a couple of spells to heal him from the Law of the Dead, and then he's also got his own, I think it's called Soul Stealer spell, which admittedly isn't the best spell, but it is a fairly reliable spell for him to regenerate a couple of wounds a turn, providing you're not going against like a heavy demon army or an army with anything with bravery 10. So yeah, he's very good. Also in combat, he, I was going to say more often than not, but pretty much all the time, pulls his weight and really shows his 800 points. His sword has a -2 rend with 3 damage on it and starts 6 attacks. It's particularly nice. And also because command ability, he's re-rolling hit rolls of 1. So yeah, he's solid in combat. I mean, in the recent tournament I took him in, I'll start from the bad. So in one game, he died turn 1. And that's just because basically charged into the whole of the enemy army because things went bad. And he survived that turn when he charged, but then the enemy had the next turn, and it was the Zeech army, and they put about 20 to 24 mortal wounds on him in the first hero phase, and even Nagash with his mortal wound saves found it hard to save against that. However, he did, I believe, deal out like 6 mortal wounds back to the enemy, so that is good fun. And yeah, he's just pretty good at survival. So yeah, he died in turn 1 in that game, but in every other game, there's one game when he took about 8 damage in total. That's because the enemy could do a lot more wounds. And then the other 3 games, he took no wounds. He might have taken 1 and then healed in the next turn, but it's just that 2-up save rerolling ones, which is massive. Even when a unit of 30 Zangors charged him, he was solid, and he killed those Zangors in about 2 to 3 turns. So he is really, really good. And also his spell, the Overwhelming Dread, if you put that on a big scary unit, he's going to charge, and in case he, you know, mucks up his dice when he goes to attack, and you think, oh, you've got all these incoming attacks from that big nasty enemy unit you've just attempted to kill and failed miserably, you're thinking, oh god, Nagash is in for it. Making the -1 to hit really does make a huge difference. What I also did, we'll get to in a minute, is I also take a Calm Wraith with the Balefire Lantern and pop it next to Nagash the whole time, and it makes enemy units within 6 inches of the bearer of the artifact, so the Calm Wraith, -1 to wound, and also re-rolling successful casting rolls in case that comes into it. So we've got that. It's Nagash. We all know what he's like, and in the Legions of Nagash battle tome, he is solid, and I say he's worth his points. So he's the big figurehead. What's the next one we've got? That is a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. Now he has the Death Lance, Shield, and Blood Chalice, because why the hell wouldn't you take the Blood Chalice, and why the hell wouldn't you take the Shield? It comes for free, and they are so good as long as you model them on if they're for some reason not already on the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, even though they come built in with a kit. And then the Death Lance is just a more reliable damage output, and then when you charge you get a nice bonus with that, turning damage from 2 to 3. So we've got him, we've got Amethyme Orb, which is, I'm sure you know, the Lord of the Vampire spell, that you draw a 12-inch line from the caster. It's a 1mm wide line, so basically it's as thin as you can get, but you draw a line 12 inches long, and then every unit, friend or foe, that is underneath that line suffers D6 mortal wounds on a 4-up. So yeah, it's a 50-50 if you're going to do it, but a D6 mortal wounds on them is huge, especially if you get lucky. You get that 4-up, you do the D6 mortal wounds, you roll a 5 or a 6, and it just makes a huge impact to that enemy unit or hero. It could potentially kill an enemy hero, or it could devastate a unit so much that even if nothing else hits that unit, Battle Shock is still going to be a challenge for them. So that's why I like that spell. Also the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, I can go into everything he does, but I think we all know what he does by now. He's one of the most point effective monsters in the game. He's been made better in the Legions of Nagash battle tome. He's got increased attacks with the dragon. He's rend, I believe, for the shoot and attack has been increased from -1 rend to -3, so most things aren't even getting a save, and if they are, they're getting a 6-up save, and let's say they had a 2-up save, now they're getting a 5-up save, so how those liberators with those 2-up save rolling ones are going to fucking like that. So that's what he does. He's also a other distraction in this army, so you've got Nagash, he's pretty much unkillable. You've got the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, who is killable, but quite hard, because in this list he has a 3-up save and then re-rolling the save rolls a 1 because of Nagash's command ability. He's also got the Blood Chalice, so you can do that once per game, healing D6 mortal wounds in your hero phase. So he's pretty goddamn survivable in himself. He's just not survivable compared to, you know, Nagash. So he's an other distraction there. What is the enemy going to attack? The enemy has to deal with either of them, otherwise they're really going to hurt them. The Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon in the combat phase, and then Nagash in the combat phase and hero phase. So they're the two big scary models we have in this army. We're then going to take a step down and we're going to look at the Necromancer. So the Necromancer is, well, like, he's the cheapest wizard in Death. He does what he says on the tin, and he's very effective at it. I do really like him. I think he's a pretty good almost auto-include in most Death armies, particularly for Legions of Nagash. So this spell is Spectral Grasp. Now that is, you pick a terrain feature within 18 inches of the caster, and then for your enemy in their movement phase, for each one of their units within 3 inches of the terrain feature, they have to half their movement characteristic for that unit and half it rounding down. So for example, if they had a 4-inch movement, now it's a 2-inch movement, but if they had a 5-inch movement and they're within 3 inches of this terrain feature, it now goes to 2 inches, because I'm sure you guys know maths, but I'll just spell it out. So you've got 5-inch movement, and then obviously half that is 2.5 inches, and then rounding down, so it's 2 inches. So yeah, I mean, most armies don't have much better than 5 inches unless they're particularly speedy. So you're making most armies, within reason, move 2 inches, which I'm sure they're going to have some sneaky movement tactics and all that sort of involved, like lightning chariots and stuff, but still you're making their movement 2, which is pretty goddamn good. So that's why he's there. And also, when I say he's got the spell, obviously Nagash is going to be casting it, because why not? It's the same with the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. Nagash is probably going to be casting that as well, just because how good of a caster he is and how many spells he can cast, and the sort of pluses he's getting to his casting roll. So our last hero is the Calm Wraith. Now, I talked a little bit about this guy earlier, and the really real reason I like this Calm Wraith is because he costs 60 points. Yes, he's only got 4 wounds, but he doesn't take any rend or any positives to his saves as well, as the ethereal rule has changed, but you know, he's still not taking rend, so that's good. So he's got a 4-up save, not taking rend. He's, because of Nagash's command ability, he's rerolling save rolls a 1, as that's not a modifier to his save, that's just a reroll. And he's alright in combat, you know, he's pretty goddamn good. He's got 3 attacks, hits on a 4, wounds on a 3, -1 rend, 2 damage. Not a bad stat line already. But if he gets a 6 to hit, he's doing 2 mortal wounds instead of his usual damage, as how, like, everything in Nighthaunt now, pretty much, if he gets a 6 to hit, it does its damage in mortal wounds, apart from I think the Night of Shrouds. Yeah, the Night of Shrouds doesn't have that. But anyway, we're not talking about him, we're talking about the Calm Wraith. So yes, he's got a good chance of doing more wins. I mean, in that 5-game tournament I had, I can't remember how many mortal wounds he did. I think the Calm Wraith ended up doing about 18 mortal wounds in like 5 games, which was fantastic, because he wasn't even there to fight, he was just there for his artifact, which is the Balefire Lantern, which, like I said, I mentioned a little bit earlier, but just go over it again. So it makes enemy units within 6 inches of him have to reroll successful casting rolls, and more importantly, -1 to wound. So you pop this guy next to Nagash. Nagash makes the enemy big scary unit. He's attacking -1 to hit him, and this Calm Wraith's making the -1 to wound. So you've suddenly got attacks going on to Nagash that are -1 to hit and -1 to wound, and they're trying to penetrate a save that's a 2-up re-rolling ones, and if they do, Nagash is probably going to heal next turn. So it just makes him that much more survivable. The Khan Wraith is a really supportive model, and well, he's not standardly, but with this artifact he is. Now the enemy's going to have a choice. So when they realise what this artifact does, and when they realise, I mean if they did not ask you before, you do not need to tell them. Of course, if this is a friendly game, of course tell them, but in a tournament, you have fun, you make friends, but the game's not always friendly. So when they find out what this artifact does, they go, oh, that's a pain, I might try and kill him because, you know, he's sort of ruining my plans a little bit. Fantastic, they're going to try and kill this little fucker. He's got a 4-up save, he's re-rolling save rolls of 1, and because he's a hero, he's got a 6-up death save. He's a pretty, you know, hard little cookie to crack. So they've got that to deal with. Like I say, if they attack him, they're wasting attacks they could put on the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. I was going to say they're wasting attacks they could put on the Gash, but the Gash is pretty much unkillable to attacks that don't cause mortal wounds or have much rend to them. So they're wasting attacks on the Khan Wraith. Unless they dedicate a lot of attacks on him, they're probably not killing him in one turn, so his effect will still continue. Which is, he's a really nice little guy with the artifact for 60 points. And yes, obviously there's no battalions in this list, as you'll probably realise, meaning this is the only artifact we have. Yes, you can have the, I think, is it the Time Sandglass or something like that, which is a very good artifact for the Grand Host and the Gash, where it's you pick a enemy hero in one of the hero phases, they suffer D3 mortal wounds just flat on, you know, any hero or any enemy hero on the table. There's no range to it, they just suffer D3 mortal wounds, so, you know, effectively an arcane bolt, and then in your subsequent hero phases they'll suffer another mortal wounds on a 4-up. So you do this of course on your first hero phase, and then you could put it on a something annoying supportive enemy hero that stays on the back, like a Blood Secretor is a perfect example. He's going to take D3 mortal wounds, so, you know, let's say he takes 3 mortal wounds, best case scenario, and then there's a chance you could kill him by turn 3. However, that's the best case scenario, you can do that. And we took this artifact in the doubles tournament we had, and to be honest, it might have been because we were unlucky, but it just didn't shine much at all. And the Balefire Lantern we had on the Khan Wraith as well just outshone it. So that's why I've gone for that, as it's a really nice supportive one. I mean, yes, the Time Glass is very nice, but there's going to be some games where it doesn't do anything, and especially if you put it on a hero that the enemy has that can heal by mistake because you didn't know it could heal. It just sort of, it's not completely pointless, but it really does sort of hinder the effectiveness of it. So anyway, that's the Khan Wraith, that's why I really like him. Moving on to the units, we've got our first one, and I should say these units we've got are all our battle line. We don't have other units, we've just got battle lines in this list. So our first big battle line unit is a unit of 5 direwolves, costs 60 points. Now, might be joking when I say this is a big unit, but direwolves are absolutely fantastic. 60 points, I've talked about this many times before. You're getting 60 points, you're getting 10 wounds with a 5-up save, and the models aren't terrible at combat, they're quite good. So, well, quite good within reason. And also they make a fantastic screening unit for things like your big monsters or something else we'll get to in this list. As only 5 models, but they cover a large area, especially when they're lined up like lengthways and then stretched out, they can cover a large area. So we've got them, they're also very fast, they can quickly respond to get to an objective when they need to, or to take an objective from the enemy if the enemy's literally holding it with 1 model, something like that. They can be good. And then the next unit is 10 skeleton warriors with ancient blades. So again, minimum size skeleton unit, it's going to do fuck all in combat. It's not meant to do anything in combat, it's just there for a little bit of numbers and a screen as well. As again, screens are huge in this game. If you can set up a screen, let's say in front of the okay, we'll go down to the next unit, so we'll give the example. So if you can set up a screen in front of the Morgos Archive, which I've got a unit of 4 of them in this list, they're absolutely do devastating things in combat, particularly in the Grand Host and the Gash. allegiance where they get 4 attacks with their halberds, as that is the best weapon option for them, instead of 3 attacks. So yeah, fantastic. That weapon has these are 3 to hit, which with Nagash's command ability is re-rolled in 1s for that. Freeze the wound, -2 rend, 3 damage. A lot of enemy units are going to struggle to save against that -2 rend, and if they fail to save against it, they're going to take so much damage. So that's why I've got that. And then the reason why that Archai is just because Harbingers are very good, and particularly in Legions of the Nightless. But our personal experience, well, when I say personal experience, I mean just literally the tournament I went to. I thought I'd take Harbingers. They're fantastic because they get to roll 3d6 when they charge. That did come in really handy a couple of times, but a lot of the time the enemy managed to charge them first, or managed to get them bogged down in combat first, just because the enemy was much faster and like won priorities and stuff like that. Which didn't mean that the Morghast died all the time or anything like that, but it did mean that their charge bonus didn't really come into effect. So the 5-up save against mortal wounds would have came in a lot of effect because we fought things like Skyfires and stuff like that, which, you know, just chuck out bucket loads of mortal wounds these days. So looking back at it, I would have preferred to take an Archai, and that's why I'm taking Archai in this tournament. And also I've modelled the Morghast as Archai. Yes, there's not much difference between Archai and Harbingers to look-wise, because they can take any weapon they want, but aesthetically, I think it's best to represent fully the war scroll you're taking. So that's why I really like Morghast Archai. And then back to what I was talking about originally with screens. So with your Morghast Archai, you can easily set up your 5 direwall screen in front of them. The direwalls can keep up with the Morghast, and when I say they can keep up with them, I mean they're even faster than the Morghast by 1 inch, so won't be any problems there. And then let's say you line them up. So you've got the Morghast screened by the direwalls, and you're pretty goddamn close to the enemy units, but you're not too sure if you're going to get the next turn as you're out of range to charge. So let's say you don't get the turn, it's the enemy's turn. Let's say they do something stupid like they move up to the direwalls, they charge them, they kill the direwalls, they're within 3 inches off the Morghast just piling attack. If you're playing in tournaments, that won't happen all the time because that's quite a stupid thing to do, in all honesty. But let's say you get the priority, and what you can do is, yeah, again, you know, if you want, you can move up the direwalls and move up the Morghast behind them, and then when you go to charge and the Morghast make the charge, because they can fly, don't worry about moving them around the direwalls to try and get the charge. They can just fly straight over them, which is incredibly handy and is a good screen for that. And then the Skeleton Warriors, yeah, they can be used to screen the Morghast, but they'll struggle to keep up with them, and you really want the screen to be at least the same speed as the Morghast. But the Skeletons are quite good for screening Nagash if needed, or the Vampalon Zombie Dragon just in the deployment phase. If you're going against an enemy army that, you know, is a fucking murder host or something, has got like a 1-drop army, and you know you're going first, and you know the enemy's going to attack you first turn, you can just deploy to protect those important characters and models. And also, like the 10 Skeletons, it's the only thing you're going to hold your back objectives with the direwalls and the maybe the Necromancer. In battle plans like Scorched Earth, for example, where you've got 3 of your own objectives into your, you know, in your back territory, what you need to protect. And if the enemy doesn't have any deep striking, which, you know, they probably are, let's face it, but, you know, a nice scenario where the enemy doesn't have any deep striking and there's no way they can outflank you, which they probably could in this list, to be honest, outflank you quite easily because you're stretched thin. But let's say your back objectives weren't under threat, you could easily just hold them with one of them with 10 Skeletons, the other one with Necromancer, and then 5 direwalls if it was a perfect scenario for you. So you've got that, and that's basically the list. So again, it's got barely any models in it. I mean, how many models have we got? Let's have a quick count up. So we've got, what's that? 19 for your battle line. We've got 4 heroes as well, so that's 23 models. And it's actually 1 model more than my Flare army, so it's one of the largest model count armies I've ever taken to a tournament, so that's good. But the idea behind this list is just to prove wrong that everything is about hordes, because as long as, if you're not planning on taking hordes, and you're not planning on actually winning the whole tournament, as if you are, I can't help you because I've never done that, or the closest I ever came to that is place 20th, which is nowhere near it. So, from a point of view from a person who likes to go to tournaments and give it a good crack and see how high you can get, if you are not planning on bringing hordes to a tournament, what you want to do is bring something that's more than capable of just wiping horde units of objectives, just wiping big blocks of 40 models or 30 models, even 60 models of objectives. That is what your priority should be, as hordes are your only real concerns in enemy armies, because in this list, for example, if you're playing against, if you're playing the battle plan Duality of Death, where you catch it with your heroes, you're going to be laughing, particularly if you get to go first, because Nagash will just sit on one objective with 2 up save rolling ones. If he does die, the enemy won't be able to kill him quick enough. And the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon probably have a good chance of dying in that game, but he will hold out for at least 1 or 2 turns on the other objective and get you a few points. And if you don't get to go first, you've got enough hitting power to hit the fuck off anything else the enemy has on those objectives. So that's what it is, because in this list you've got 3 big scary things. You've got Nagash, who's horrendous in combat and is even more so in the hero phase. And then you've got the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. Like I say, he does what he says he does on the tin. Everyone knows he does. I think most Death players have one. I mean, he's just like a go-to option really for a lot of armies. And then the Morgoth Archai are, unit 4 of them is fantastic. I would have liked a unit of 6. Obviously they won't fit in this list, but I've only got 4 anyway. But a unit 4 of them will have 16 attacks in total, rerolling once to hit. They should be really quite devastating, particularly how they were in the tournament I've just been to, and in the tournament we fought a goddamn amount of Nurgle armies, so I was like -2 to hit a lot of the time, and they still managed to get the damage through. So that's the list. Like I say, give me all your criticism about the list in the comments. Let me know how it will be defeated. Let me know what you would change in the list, because like I say, I've only had like 1 small game, which the opponent I played was good, but against the army, my army did have a big advantage, shall we say. He was playing Dispossessed, and Dispossessed against a new Battletone army is, you know, it's not saying they can't win against them at all, but I'd say the odds are not in their favour. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, so that's the only game I had, and I don't want to base everything on that, so I'm basically asking you guys if you'd be so kind to give some of your time just to tell me what you think about this list. Like I say, tell me all the negatives. If you think there's any positives, include them, as it's always nice to hear that. But yeah, that's it. It's just something I quickly came up with, because like I say, I won't have time to practice this army, so if you guys could let me know what I should watch out for, that would be fantastic. And yeah, there is barely any models in this army, and I'm sure that's what you guys are going to bring up, and like how am I going to hold objectives. But the plan is, you know, your enemy can't hold objectives if all their models are dead. And I know that's quite a ignorant plan even, but because his army should be fairly capable of wiping out the enemy units fairly early on, especially if they bring them forward to hold those objectives in the middle. I should be able to get to them turn 1 or turn 2, and the damage I should be able to output should be able to do it fairly quickly. And if I can kill those enemy units by halfway through the game, that might be good enough in some battle plans to hold the objective just a couple of models and just clock the points quicker than they could in the first half of the game. So I've experienced that with a huge Death Rat army, where I just put the skeletons in range of the objectives and just go, aha, you can't, you know, basically wipe my units out. And the enemy can, because of a lovely little thing called Battle Shock. And of course you play against, I don't know, a huge Horde army, let's say a Skaven army, or Moon Clan Grot army, and they put, you know, they've got 2 units of 60 bloody Grots on the objectives. As far as I'm aware, point me out if I'm wrong, because I don't know too much about Ming Clan, but they can't put Inspiring Presence on both those units. Like I say, I might be wrong about that, because I'm not too sure about them, but I don't think they can. So, yeah, one unit might be a unit of 60 goblins, that's going to be bloody hard to wipe out because it's got Inspiring Presence on it. But the other unit, oh boy, they're in for some fun times, especially with Nagash making them or possibly -2 to their bravery. And with the Morghast making them another -1, and if the skeletons are in range, another -1, which I'm sure all of that perfect storm is not going to happen, but you never know, it's fun. So, and I think God's got 4 bravery, so in that case it would have bravery 0. God, that battleship phase would be hilarious. So, like I said, that probably wouldn't happen, but like I say, let me know your criticisms on this list, as I've got no time to practice it, and I'm driving up to Warhammer World, not tomorrow, but the next day. And between now and then and this whole week, really, the last 3 weeks, just haven't had any time with work, and that's also the reason for the lack of videos, and I do apologise for that. But that is the list. So, like I say, let me know what you think, and let me know if you don't think it's heavy hitting enough. If you think that I'm being a bit too overconfident and a bit arrogant on thinking how useful this army can be for just devastating the enemy army and just taking the objectives off them, and that way rather than the amount of models. So yeah, let me know what my weaknesses are, just so I'm not just saying this, I generally need to know them, as I can look through it, but it's always good to have as many people as you can to give you feedback. And then finally on this list, it's got 1990 points, so probably not going to get any triumphs in most of your games, but in a 5-game tournament, which this weekend will be, I should think I'll get 1 game with a triumph, which will be nice, because it could be reroll failed hit rolls, and if Nagash is alive on the table as command ability, I'm rerolling 1s anyway, but rerolling all failed, it's always nice. Rerolling all failed wounds would probably be the best one, and then rerolling failed saves, again I'm rerolling 1s, but if the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon's under loads of heat and I manage to get that triumph, and he's making, I don't know, 5 saves at -2 with 3 damage to it, I can just go, screw it, he's got a 5-up save, and using this to make sure he rerolls everything, and it could really save his life. So yeah, that's the list. So what have we got planned next? I'm planning on moving away from Death just for a little bit. I know you guys might not like that, but to be honest, with Death, it's fantastic. Always be my first love when it comes to Warhammer, but I feel like I've sort of explored all there is to at the moment, and I feel like I don't really want to burn out my content I can do on Death all in one go, even though I have done, was it about 20 videos now or something on Death, probably more. So we're going to move on to Destruction, as I think this is probably without a doubt my second favourite Grand Alliance, just because it just looks so much fun. The models are cool, they're big, they're brutish, they just do loads of damage in combat, and it just seems like a nice fun army to play around with. And also lore-wise, I know it's not as black and white as this, but Order does sometimes feel very white, and Chaos obviously very dark and black. On the Chaos part that might be pretty true, but Order, I know there's some mixtures there, and these new Indenef Deep King don't look particularly like the most friendliest bunch, but they fight for the good guys essentially. But when it comes to Death and Destruction, they're sort of forces of nature that might not be almost like portrayed as being good forces. However, they're neither negative. It's like Destruction, for example. That does not sound like it's good at all. However, many aspects of nature of Destruction, things like hurricanes, things like flooding, volcanoes, just examples like that. Just so it's just a part of nature, which Destruction is. And not saying I want to do a nature Northern Army, God, otherwise I would have done Sylvaneth. But it's just like a nice sort of grey area, like it's neither good nor bad. So that's why I like it. And then the first army I'll be working on is Gutbusters, and the reason for this is because I've recently traded my Necron army for a Gutbuster army, which is on its way to me. I mean, it was delivered to the house today, but I was away at work, unfortunately, so it's been given to the local like post office, because I don't know why they couldn't have just given it to the neighbour. They're giving it to the local post office, which meant I couldn't pick it up on the way back from work, because the nearest point to pick it up is the next working day. So hopefully we'll be able to pick it up tomorrow. They better have it, because I really want to start not just working on them, but just seeing. I know what I've got, but just really picking up the models in my hands and seeing what I like. So a little bit of a tangent there, talking about the British Postal Service. Usually good, and to be honest, it is good. I was just out and about when it was delivered. It really is my fault. I'm just blaming other people. So, you know, diverse in there. But anyway, so I will hopefully get that tomorrow and then have a good look at the models. If I can and I've got time, I might do a little quick video just showing you guys what I've got and all that sort of thing, as it's a new frontier really for me, and just be nice, just painting different types of models and just having more variety in the hobby, and it'll give me more areas I can base content around with. Now this is a Gutbuster, you know, Gutbuster, essentially ogre army, but I am planning on making a broader destruction army, and the reason behind this is it's not going to be the most competitive, it's not going to have many synergies in it, but it's going to have all the models that I want to buy and want to put in it. And to be honest, that's the main reason I got into Warhammer Age of Sigmar. I can completely tell you with full honesty, when I was thinking about getting into this hobby, I wasn't thinking about, oh, I could be really good at it and go to tournaments. It's not crossed my mind whatsoever. It was just, that model looks cool, I want to build, paint it and play with it on the table, as it look like it can be very nasty, and you know, I'd like to say make me friends, but you know, potentially lose me friends. But as long as my big scary model I really wanted killed lots of things, that's what I care about. So yeah, that's essentially what this army would be. It's just going to be a fun army, and also it's going to show, particularly I'm going to work with Gutbusters on this, that how good can you make a, you know, quote unquote not a competitive army. Like Gutbusters, not saying they're not, I've seen people do really good things with them, but then I'm just going to say it, they're not competitive compared to Siege or things like Stormcast. They might be able to win a game against them, but if they do, I think that's more turning to the generals on both sides and the luck on both sides. But I'm not saying I'm the best general out there, because I'm certainly not. I do lose games, but I like to say that I'm a competent general, and I like to see what I could do with Gutbusters, and really just basically pick an army you like, put the models in it that you like, and try and make it work and be competitive. That's going to be my way of thinking around this. If I, you know, get fed up on losing and all that stuff, I'm just going to go back to my death army and start terrorising people in my local store. But anyway, I'm going to be focusing on the Gutbusters and seeing what I can do with them, and hopefully it'll go well. I've also got my ship that I'm building at the moment for a skirmish campaign in our store. That's about basically a pirate skirmish campaign. So you have a model that represents a Archanaut frigate. I say Archanaut frigate, is it the Cowden Overlord frigate? Oh, I think it is Archanaut frigate, yeah, I think that's the full term. Anyway, so you start off with something that represents its war scroll. I've just gone simply for the ship, and I'm going to make it look a bit more destructionary, if that makes any sense. And you start with that and 30 renowned. 30 renowned is enough to get you about 4 brutes essentially, and that's how you start your army for the campaign, and it will slowly grow and grow and grow and grow. And it's just a skirmish game, but it'll just be a nice, fun sort of pirate theme. So I've got that on the go as well. That's probably going to be my first part of business when it comes to my destruction army. And yes, a Archanaut frigate is not going to work in any competitive games, but might even play open play or narrative just for the fun. And I've always got my death or if I want to be, you know, semi-competitiveness. But anyway, so I hope you're excited about me going into destruction and you know, Gutbusters to start with, and then I think I'm going to seep into Iron Jaws. I'm going to go up to Warhammer World this weekend. I don't know if I've got enough cash to do it, but I would really like to buy a destruction Forge World monster, just to be able to like build it and paint it up and like showcase it on the channel, just so you guys can have a look at it. As I know, some of the Forge World stuff is not always seen, and particularly some of the destruction stuff is not always seen. Like, there's a couple of models I like just by looking at. Is the Basilisk. I don't think it's a particularly good game, but it looks really cool. And the Dreadmore, which looks pretty good in game and looks pretty cool, which is basically the big snake bursting out of the ground. So yeah, if I got the cash, I'll get those, but we'll have to see. If I don't, I'll get them some time and show you guys. But that's the plan for this weekend. What I've been up to, like I say, I've done that video with Twincrete. Please check out his channel, as he does do, like I say, good content, and I watched his channel for quite a long time before I started my own, and got quite a few of my ideas from him. And hopefully we'll be doing more videos in the future, just because when we make videos together, it spreads out on a wider community, and I think everybody wins. So we've got that, and then we've got destruction to work on. If you are happy about me going to destruction, please let me know down in the comments what sort of things you would be excited to see me put in my destruction army, because who knows, I'm quite lenient with destruction. Like I said, it's going to be quite a fun army, so if you guys would really like me to put something in there, like a giant or something, you know, I'll probably go and buy a giant and put it in there, just to showcase sort of like community effort, if that's the right word for it, and just sort of like reflect your comments into my actual own hobby I'm building on. And alternatively, if you guys aren't excited about me going into destruction, and rather than me just going to death, to be honest, I'm probably just going to disobey and go into destruction, as I think it'll be really fun. But if you do think the opposite to me, please let me know in the comments. And if you don't want me to go in destruction, please don't just say that. Tell me what you would like me to do instead. As I always find, if you shut down an idea, everyone is open to their own opinion, so they can shut down an idea, but please give another idea in its place, just to get the idea pool going. And the idea pool is basically what makes these videos. So I'm going to end this video there, as I really need to go to bed, as I've got to be up at, I think it's going to be about 3:30 in the morning tomorrow, so I need to get at least 5 hours sleep. But I thought I hadn't done a video for a while, or more importantly, I haven't uploaded a video for a little while, so I wanted to just let you guys know that I'm basically still alive, and I hope you guys are all well and all that sort of thing. Please let me know in the comments what you've been up to, as of course this is a hobby and chat video. Let me know what you guys are working on, and that's pretty much it. So if you've enjoyed this video, or you just don't mind me talking about my hobby for like the last, how long has this video gone for, about 35 minutes, something like that, please like, subscribe and comment down below. As last time I checked, I don't know if it's gone up and down, but I had 300 subscribers, which is absolutely fantastic. I'm over the moon by this. I've been doing this for about 3-4 months now, I think, probably about 3 months, and that's just absolutely unbelievable. So happy with that. Didn't think I'd get anything near that in this time, and it really does go to show how much support you guys give me, and I can't thank you enough. So anyway, I'll leave you that. Thank you very much for being good viewers again, and I look forward to seeing you next time. And remember, Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.